Hello, welcome. This is our third Love in the Time of Corona, and these videos are messages to you, the people of Trinity Methodist Church. In this video, I am going to be talking you through the journey we're going to be following in reopening the property for gatherings. But before I get there, I want to spend a moment, and I think you're going to find this interesting and helpful, reflecting on the statement that we chose to guide our journey through this year. A firm foundation for this generation. This was our rallying call behind which we were going to make our children and youth ministries the number one priority for our work this year. We wanted to increase the effectiveness and the excellence of those ministries. The idea was that we wanted to give a godly foundation for the children and youth of our congregation. What you won't know, very few people know, is that this statement started off as a slightly longer version during the process of strategic planning last year. A strong foundation for the next generation was the statement. But as we journeyed with that, we were a little bit uncertain, and we didn't really fully know completely at the time why. We were uncertain about the statement next generation. We sensed that all of the current generations needed to benefit from this theme. And anyway, we also said children and youth are not the next generation, they are part of the current generation. So we shortened it and said a firm foundation for this generation. What we didn't know at the time was that the COVID-19 storm would hit the world and all of us and change completely our life as a church. And in the light of that, it has been interesting to reflect on this statement now, because Jesus taught us to build our lives on Him and His teachings, which He called the kingdom of God, and that would be a wise decision, like the wise decision of building your house on the rock rather than on the sand. And then He spoke about a storm. He said the storm would come, the rains would come, the floods would rise, the wind would blow, but the house would not fall because it was built on the rock rather than on the sand. This is at the end of the Sermon on the Mount, at the end of chapter 7 of Matthew, that He teaches this. So I'm wanting to say to you, during this storm, please rely more and more as each day goes by on Jesus and on His teachings and who He is and how He offers God to you. You will then experience Him as a firm foundation, and this is needed for every generation in our church. Even, or perhaps shall we say especially, our senior generation, which are at the eye of this storm. If you do that, you will experience God. You will experience God, God's grace, God's love, God's kindness, God's presence, God's encouragement, God's strength, God's guidance, God's peace. You will experience God's love in this time of Corona. And that will be a firm foundation for every generation in our church. About the reopening of the property for gatherings, we as a staff and as an executive have thought and prayed and discussed long and hard about this. From the beginning of August, we will be reopening the property for small group gatherings. So the people who are going to be particularly benefiting from this are home groups, worship teams, the choir, support groups. Our library will also open, and listening circles. What we are saying to you is that we have 5 venues available. We have the church, we have the chapel, we have the hall, we have the minor hall, and we have the youth hall available for gatherings. The size of the group will be a maximum of 12 people. Unfortunately, we're saying not over 60-year-olds at this stage, and we are also saying, please, if you have comorbidities, do not participate in this yet. If you are in a home group, we are also saying to you, don't abandon the Zoom meetings that you are having completely. But what we are saying to you now is, perhaps you are finding those Zoom meetings not working so well anymore. And your lounge is not large enough to safely gather and practice social distancing. We are saying to you, it is safe here. We can offer you a big enough venue for which you can social distance and you can gather safely without the threat of infection. Come to the church for that. We obviously will be able to, over time, lift some of the restrictions. I think you can appreciate that whenever the church opened its doors to gathering again, it would be the start of what would be a gradual process. And so gradually over time, we're going to be able to lift the restrictions. But that's where we're starting from the beginning of August. You'll need to schedule your meeting, and you're going to need to contact the office for that. And I'll give you details at the end of this video on how to do that. We are convinced that it is not safe for us to gather for worship, for gatherings of 50 people for worship at this time. And so we will gather for worship once we are past our peak and we know there are enough beds available in hospitals and we know there's no particular local threat. Then we will be gathering for worship again. We don't know exactly when that will be, but we do anticipate that that will be this year. So friends, this is a change to our strategy. It represents a desire on our part to use the property as a safe place from which we can support people spiritually, but not just spiritually, also mentally, emotionally, relationally, through this very severe crisis that we are going through. We are supporting already digitally, but now we want to support further with supplementing that with face-to-face gatherings here at the church. What we are really doing is creating a beachhead here on the property in the battle against the virus and all that the virus means. A place, a beachhead from which good can spread into the community from the face-to-face gatherings that we are able to have, that can be done safely and without risk of infection. So what we are saying is, let the property once more be a place of love now in the time of Corona. Let me just quickly remind you, all of our online ministries continue, and in fact we will be developing those even further over the next few weeks and months, and so watch out for that. Please make sure that you are benefiting from all of these expressions of love in the time of Corona. I want to run through them very quickly with you. There are daily devotions that are going out, that's on website and via WhatsApp. There is a weekly newsletter which goes out via email, which includes news, but also includes really good advice on how to care for yourself and for others. There's the bulletin that goes out via WhatsApp and is also on the website. There are sermons and services of worship that go out weekly, and that is on the website. And audio versions of those sermons also go out on WhatsApp, and it gets uploaded onto the website every Saturday evening and is ready for the Sunday and is available after the Sunday. There are sermon-based curriculum notes available. Those are booklets that are based on the sermon series that we are going through, and they're available for both home groups and for individual use. There are support groups that are available digitally, and these are advertised in the weekly email. Our children's church, Joel, Illuminate, Focus, First to Last, in other words, all of our children's, youth and young adult ministries continue online. There are the Zoom gatherings of the home groups that I referred to earlier. There are Coffee Chat Connect groups. There's also third term teaching that has now started and will continue over the next few weeks. There are meetings, there are third term teachings that revolve around helping parents in their parenting of the children as those children struggle with the big emotions. There are also groups for adults struggling with fear and with loss. And then we have a new worldwide launch of a journey called From Here to Eternity, which is all about finding fulfillment in retirement. Watch out for that. And then prayer ministry. This is something that has grown a lot during the time and needed to grow a lot. We have our normal prayer chain, but we also have a dedicated COVID-19 prayer chain. And then there are hundreds of conversations that are happening. I think when one puts what the staff and some of the volunteers are doing together in each week, it's probably at least 100 conversations, pastoral conversations that are happening by telephone to help people through this time. We've been very hard at work as pastoral, ministerial and administrative staff to try and offer you as much of what Trinity Methodist Church is about during this COVID-19 practice. Now that we are opening up the property, we will be able to see some of you here, and we really are looking forward to that. We know that these next few weeks and months are going to be very, very difficult for us as a nation, and as a community. We are going to be initiating new pastoral interventions. Please watch the news from the congregation website and emails to find out about that. We're going to try and do all we can to help you cope through this difficult journey. Remember, rely on Jesus as your foundation. I also want to say that we know in the economic decline that it's impacted many of you, and we want to say thank you for all the ways in which you have continued to support the church financially. We know that you are doing your best and that this is your way of giving glory to God and honoring God at this time, that this is your expression of love in the time of Corona. Thank you for listening and watching. God bless you. On the screen now are details by which you can contact Carol to book your place here at the property.